Jack Adams wiped the sweat from his forehead as he guided his old cargo ship through the black emptiness of space. The vessel groaned and creaked around him, showing its age with every light year. Once, Jack had commanded Earth's finest warships. Now, he hauled fertilizer and farming tools to distant human colonies. Just 2 more hours until Horizon Colony, he muttered to himself, checking the nav computer. Horizon was a small farming settlement, one of many human colonies spread across this sector of the galaxy. Humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, having joined the Galactic Council only 75 years ago. The older species still treated them like children at a grown-up table. Jack's radar pinged. 3 ships had appeared behind him, moving fast. Too fast for merchant vessels. Unidentified ships. This is cargo vessel Star Mule. Please state your business, Jack called over the comm. No response came, but the ships accelerated. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. He recognized the sharp, angular design now visible on his screen. Dominion vessels. The sight of them made species across the galaxy tremble. This is a registered Earth transport on a peaceful mission. Jack tried again. I am in Council-protected space. The first shot hit before he finished speaking. His ship rocked violently as warning lights flashed across the control panel. Jack's military training kicked in. He threw the Star Mule into evasive maneuvers, but his old cargo ship was no match for Dominion weapons. Mayday. Mayday. Earth vessel under attack by Dominion forces near Horizon Colony. Another blast tore through his engine room. With no choice left, Jack scrambled to the escape pod. As the pod ejected, he watched his ship break apart in a silent explosion. The pod tumbled through space, eventually settling into a trajectory toward Horizon Colony. Jack could only watch helplessly as the Dominion ships continued toward the small settlement. From orbit, he saw it all. The Dominion ships descended on the colony like hawks. Strange beams of light swept over the settlement, and one by one, the colonists were lifted into the air. Men, women, children, all pulled upward in glowing columns of light. Jack watched in horror as the colony was emptied of all human life in less than an hour. The Dominion ships, their holds now full of captive humans, vanished into hyperspace, leaving empty buildings and abandoned fields behind. 3 days later, on Earth, Director Wilson stood before the Emergency Council, her face grim. Horizon Colony is the 37th human settlement to go silent in the past year, she said, her voice echoing in the circular chamber. Jack Adams, a former Space Force commander, witnessed the attack. His testimony confirms our worst fears. The Dominion is taking our people. For what purpose? Asked one of the council members. We don't know, Wilson replied. Our ambassador to the Galactic Council has filed formal complaints, but they continue to advise non-interference with Dominion activities. The room filled with angry voices. Humanity had played by the rules for 75 years, only to be treated as prey by the galaxy's most powerful force. We must prepare for war, said General Ward, his fist hitting the table. Against the Dominion. Another council member laughed bitterly. They've ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. Species 10 times our age won't stand against them. What chance do we have? The debate raged for hours. Earth had always been cautious, aware of its junior status in galactic politics. The Dominion had existed since before humans discovered fire. Their technology was beyond understanding, their empire spanning half the galaxy. The chamber doors burst open. A junior officer rushed in, face pale. Director Wilson, a Dominion ship has entered Earth orbit. They're demanding to speak with our leaders. The council chamber's main screen flickered to life. The beam on screen wasn't visible, just a shadowy form called the Voice, the Dominion's public face. People of Earth, it said, the translator making its words flat and cold. The Dominion has allowed your species to expand beyond acceptable parameters. This will be corrected. You will provide 1 million humans as tribute within 1 Earth month. Failure to comply will result in direct intervention. The screen went dark. Silence filled the chamber for 10 heartbeats. They want us to hand over 1 million people, someone finally whispered. Director Wilson stood slowly. This is how it begins. First, they take our outer colonies. Then they demand tribute. Other species have faced this before us. Those who comply are slowly harvested until nothing remains but a shell of their civilization. And those who refuse? Asked General Ward. None have refused in living memory, Wilson said quietly. The council voted unanimously that night. For the first time in galactic history, someone would say no to the Dominion. Jack sat in the hospital bed, staring out the window at Earth's blue sky. After his rescue, he'd been debriefed for hours about what he'd witnessed at Horizon Colony. The door slid open. Director Wilson entered, followed by Captain Reed, commander of Earth's most advanced warship. Commander Adams, Wilson said, I'm afraid Earth needs you back in uniform. Jack looked up sharply. I'm just a cargo pilot now, Director. Not anymore. Wilson handed him a datapad. The Dominion has demanded we surrender 1 million humans as tribute. And Earth's response. Captain Reed smiled grimly. For the first time in known history, someone is going to tell the Dominion no. Jack felt a strange mix of dread and pride. They'll come for us with everything they have. Yes, Wilson nodded. That's why we need to know exactly what we're facing. We need someone to find out what happens to the people they take. A spy mission? Jack asked. The most dangerous one imaginable, Captain Reed confirmed. We need to infiltrate their processing centers, find out their weaknesses, discover what they do with their captives. Jack stood up, his decision made before they'd even finished explaining. He'd seen the people of Horizon Colony vanish into those ships. Whatever happened next, humanity would not go quietly. When do we start? He asked. Wilson's expression was solemn. We already have. Earth's factories are converting to military production. Every ship is being armed. But we need intel, Jack. We need you. Outside the window, the blue sky darkened as the sun set. Somewhere up there, the galaxy's greatest power was preparing to crush one defiant world that dared to say, enough is enough. Jack nodded. I'm in. Jack Adams and Lieutenant Parker crouched in the shadows of a maintenance corridor aboard the massive Dominion processing station. Their skin had been temporarily dyed a pale blue, and small ridges added to their foreheads to disguise them as members of the Trill, a species that had been serving the Dominion for centuries. Remember, Parker whispered, adjusting the tool belt on her uniform. Keep your head down and don't speak unless necessary. The Dominion doesn't pay attention to maintenance workers. Jack nodded, his hand touching the hidden blaster beneath his uniform. 3 weeks of intensive training had prepared them for this mission, but nothing could prepare them for the overwhelming size of the Dominion station. It was larger than Earth's moon, a spinning metal world filled with beings from across the galaxy. Worker units, proceed to level 47 for conduit repair. A metallic voice announced over the station speakers. Jack and Parker joined a line of blue-skinned Trill moving through the corridor. None of them spoke or even looked at each other. Jack had never seen such empty, hopeless eyes. They rode a massive lift down to the lower levels of the station. The doors opened to reveal a sight that made Jack's blood freeze. Rows upon rows of transparent tubes stretched across a chamber so vast he couldn't see the end of it. Inside each tube floated a body. Some human, others from species Jack didn't recognize. Tubes and wires connected to their bodies, pulsing with strange energy. Stars above, Parker whispered, her face pale beneath the blue dye. A Dominion overseer, a tall being in gleaming armor, approached their group. Repair units, follow the designated path. Any deviation will result in immediate processing. The Trill workers moved forward obediently. Jack and Parker followed, trying to look subservient while recording everything with hidden cameras in their eye implants. As they worked opening panels and checking systems, Jack began to understand the horrible truth. The bodies in the tubes weren't dead. They were being used as living components in the Dominion's technology. They're powering the station, Parker whispered in horror as they pretended to repair a junction box. The Dominion is using them as living batteries. Jack nodded grimly. Through the clear floor beneath them, he could see more levels below, thousands upon thousands of tubes, each containing a living being trapped in a nightmare that might never end. Across the galaxy at the Galactic Council headquarters, Counselor Gray stood before the assembled representatives of 200 species. Earth's single seat was positioned near the back, befitting humanity's junior status. "The evidence is clear," Gray said, her voice strong despite the dismissive looks from the older members. "The Dominion is abducting humans from our colonies. They have now demanded 1 million of our people as tribute. We ask the Council to condemn these actions and support sanctions against the Dominion." The chamber remained silent for a moment. Then laughter began, starting with the ancient Volax representative and spreading across the room. The council leader, a tall being with 6 eyes, raised his hand for silence. "The human concern is noted. However, the Dominion's activities are outside our jurisdiction. The correct protocol is non-interference." Non-interference. Gray couldn't keep the anger from her voice. "They're abducting our people. Your species is young and does not understand galactic balance," the council leader said calmly. "The Dominion provides stability. All civilizations must make contributions to maintain order." "Contributions?" Gray's eyes narrowed. "You mean sacrifices. How many of your people have you handed over to them?" The chamber erupted in angry shouts. The council leader banged his staff for order. "This session is concluded. Earth's complaint is denied." As the representatives filed out, an elderly member of a small reptilian species approached Gray. "They won't help you because most of them have secret arrangements with the Dominion," he whispered. "Those who resist disappear. Those who cooperate are left alone. Mostly. Earth has made a dangerous enemy." "And who are you?" Gray asked. "Someone who remembers when my world tried to resist. Long ago. We failed. Perhaps your people will do better." Back on the Dominion station, Jack and Parker's mission was proceeding according to plan until a security alarm suddenly blared throughout the facility. "Unauthorized access detected in central processing," announced the metallic voice. "All security units respond." "That's not us," Parker whispered. "We haven't tried to access the central system yet." Dominion guards rushed past them, ignoring the maintenance workers. Jack and Parker pressed themselves against the wall, trying to remain invisible. "Now's our chance," Jack said. "While they're distracted, we can get to the central hub and download the data." They slipped away from their work group, moving through service corridors toward the center of the station. As they turned a corner, they came face to face with 3 Dominion guards. "Identification," demanded the lead guard, a towering figure in black armor. Jack and Parker froze. Their cover was about to be blown. Suddenly, a maintenance panel behind the guards exploded. The guards spun around, weapons ready. From the smoke emerged a blue-skinned Trill, but unlike the others, his eyes were alive with fury. He moved with unexpected speed, disabling 2 guards before they could fire. Jack reacted instantly, drawing his hidden blaster and taking down the 3rd. "Humans," the Trill said, looking at them closely. "I knew Earth would send someone eventually." "Who are you?" Parker asked, weapon still raised. "My name is Thorn. I've been sabotaging this station for years." He gestured to the fallen guards. "We need to move now. Follow me if you want to live and learn the full truth about the Dominion." On Earth, Dr. Morgan worked frantically in her lab, surrounded by fragments of Dominion technology recovered from previous encounters. "It doesn't make sense," she muttered as she examined a piece of machinery under a microscope. "Their technology is partially organic, but it's not just using biological components. It's somehow harnessing life energy itself." She adjusted a scanner and ran another test. The results made her gasp. "Director Wilson," she called urgently. "I need to see Director Wilson immediately. I think I found something." Before the assistant could respond, The lab's main screen activated automatically. Emergency alerts flashed across it. "Attention all Earth citizens," came the grave announcement. "The Mars colony has been attacked by Dominion forces. Initial reports indicate complete destruction. Casualty estimates are at 20,000. The President will address the planet within the hour." Dr. Morgan stared at the screen in horror, clutching her research notes. Her discovery might now be Earth's only hope of survival. The Earth Security Council gathered in their underground chamber as reports from Mars continued to arrive. All showed the same thing: utter devastation. "This was their response to our refusal," Director Wilson said grimly. "A demonstration of power." General Ward stood up, his face resolute. "Then it's war." "A war we cannot win," someone objected. "Perhaps," said Director Wilson. "But for the first time in the history of the galaxy, someone is going to fight back against the Dominion. If we're going down fighting." The vote was unanimous. Earth was at war. Across the galaxy, news of humanity's defiance spread like wildfire. Most species scoffed at the foolishness of the young race, but in some eyes, a spark of long-forgotten hope began to glimmer. The galaxy had lived in fear for too long. Maybe, just maybe, it was time for a change. The factory floors of Earth hummed with activity day and night. What once made cars now built warships. What once created farm equipment now produced weapons. In just 3 months, humanity had converted nearly its entire industrial capacity to prepare for war. Admiral Stone walked through the massive shipyard outside Luna Base, watching as workers swarmed over the nearly completed hull of Earth's newest warship. "How soon can she fly?" he asked Engineer Collins, who was checking something on her tablet. 2 weeks for this one," Collins replied, tucking a strand of gray hair behind her ear. "We're getting faster with each ship. The first took us 2 months. Now we're completing one every 2 weeks." Admiral Stone nodded, impressed but still worried. "And the special equipment?" Collins lowered her voice. "Dr. Morgan's disruptor technology is being installed on all new ships and retrofitted to existing ones. If her theory is correct, it could change everything." They both looked up as the massive ship loomed over them. It wasn't as elegant as the Dominion's vessels, but it carried humanity's hopes. "The Dominion has ruled through fear for thousands of years," Admiral Stone said quietly. "No one has ever truly fought back." "Well," Collins said with a grim smile, "they've never faced humans before." Jack Adams, Lieutenant Parker, and their new ally Thorne sat in the cramped quarters of a small scout ship, hidden in the shadow of an asteroid belt. After their narrow escape from the Dominion processing station, they had been making careful jumps toward the territory of the Krell, a species rumored to have once resisted the Dominion. "The Krell fought back centuries ago," Thorne explained, his blue skin looking pale under the ship's lights. "They lost, of course, but some escaped. They've been hiding ever since, helping others when they can." "And you think they'll help us?" Parker asked. Thorne touched a scar on his neck. "My people, the Trill, have been serving the Dominion for over 500 years. We repair their stations, maintain their ships. We're considered useful, so they only take some of us for processing." His eyes hardened. "The Krell helped me escape service. They'll help Earth too, if your plan has any chance of success." Jack studied the star map. "Earth can't win this war alone. We need allies. Most species are too afraid," Thorne said. "The Dominion has ruled for so long that resistance seems impossible." Jack's communicator beeped. He flipped it open to see Director Wilson's face. "Jack, we've received your data from the processing station. Dr. Morgan has made a breakthrough. Get back to Earth as soon as possible. And bring your new friend. We need all the help we can get." Captain Reed stood on the bridge of the ESS Defiant, Earth's most advanced warship. Through the view screen, he could see 3 Dominion vessels approaching Alpha Centauri, Earth's oldest colony. "All hands to battle stations," he ordered calmly. "Prepare the disruptor." The crew moved with practiced efficiency. They had trained for this moment for weeks, but everyone knew this would be the first real test of Dr. Morgan's invention. "Sir, Dominion ships are charging weapons," reported the tactical officer. "Hold position," Reed commanded. "Let them get closer." The Dominion ships advanced confidently. They had never been challenged before, and a single one of their vessels could typically destroy an entire planet's defenses. "They're in range, sir." Captain Reed took a deep breath. "Activate the disruptor." A strange pulse emanated from the Defiant, invisible to the naked eye, but targeting a very specific frequency. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the Dominion ships began to slow. Their lights flickered. On the largest vessel, sections of the hull began to change color, shifting from metallic gray to a strange, organic purple. "Sir," the science officer reported with amazement, "the disruptor is working. It's separating the biological components from their technology." Inside the Dominion ships, the imprisoned beings that had been forcibly integrated into the vessel's systems were breaking free. The ship's weapons went offline as their power sources. The living beings themselves were no longer under control. "All weapons lock on target," Reed ordered. "Fire." Earth's weapons might have been less advanced, but they worked perfectly well against defenseless ships. Within minutes, all 3 Dominion vessels had been disabled. "Launch boarding parties," Reed commanded. "Let's free anyone we can and gather all the intel possible." As Reed watched his teams board the enemy vessels, he activated his communicator. "Earth Command, this is Captain Reed. The disruptor works. I repeat, the disruptor works. We have our first victory." On the Dominion homeworld, deep in the galactic core, the voice stood before the Overlord, trembling slightly. "The humans have developed a weapon that disrupts our technology," the voice reported. "They destroyed 3 of our ships at Alpha Centauri." The Overlord remained hidden in shadows, only its silhouette visible on the raised platform. "Impossible. Their technology is primitive." Nevertheless, it happened. The biological components were freed. A long silence followed. When the Overlord spoke again, its voice was cold with rage. "Assemble the Grand Armada. All available ships. We will crush this human rebellion immediately." "All ships?" the voice asked, shocked. "But that would leave many sectors unguarded. The humans have discovered our greatest weakness. If others learn of this weapon, everything we have built over millennia could collapse." The Overlord moved slightly, its massive form shifting in the darkness. "No species has ever truly challenged us. We cannot allow the humans to succeed where all others have failed." News of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. At first, no one believed it. The Dominion, defeated in battle. Impossible. But as confirmation came from multiple sources, a dangerous feeling began to stir in subjugated worlds. Hope. On Earth, Admiral Stone addressed the Unified Military Command. "Today marks our first victory, but the war has just begun," he said gravely. "Our intelligence indicates the Dominion is assembling its Grand Armada. Thousands of ships, heading straight for Earth. They will arrive in approximately 2 months." The room fell silent as the enormity of the threat sank in. "Can we evacuate?" someone asked. Admiral Stone shook his head. "There's nowhere to run. The Dominion controls too much of the galaxy. We must stand and fight." "What about the disruptor technology?" General Ward asked. "Can we build enough ships in time?" Dr. Morgan stepped forward. "The disruptor works, but it has limited range. To affect their entire fleet, we'd need something much more powerful." "We're working on it," Engineer Collins added. "But we need time." Jack Adams, who had just returned from his mission with Parker and Thorne, stood up. "Then we'll buy you time. Thorne has contacts with resistance groups on dozens of worlds. If we can coordinate simultaneous uprisings, we might distract the Dominion enough to delay their attack." The galaxy held its breath as humanity prepared for the greatest battle in its history. After thousands of years of unchallenged rule, the Dominion faced something it had never encountered before: a species that refused to submit, that had found their weakness, and that was willing to fight to the end. For the first time, the galaxy dared to wonder, what if the Dominion could actually be defeated? Commander Ellis stood on Earth's largest orbital defense platform, watching as her crew ran final checks on the massive disruptor array. Through the viewport, she could see dozens of similar platforms forming a protective ring around the planet. "Will it be enough?" asked her second-in-command. Ellis didn't answer immediately. The Dominion Grand Armada had been detected entering the outer solar system. Over 5,000 ships, the largest fleet ever assembled in the history of the galaxy. "It will have to be," she finally said. Her communicator buzzed. "Commander Ellis, this is Earth Command. Dominion ships have passed Mars orbit. Estimated time to engagement, 3 hours." Ellis straightened her uniform. "All personnel to battle stations. This is not a drill." Far from Earth, Jack Adams, Lieutenant Parker, and Thorne led a small fleet of mismatched ships toward a Dominion processing center near the Orion Nebula. Their mission: to free as many captives as possible and disrupt Dominion operations while the main fleet attacked Earth. 20 ships, Parker said, looking at the tactical display. "Not much of a fleet. Quality over quantity," Jack replied with a grim smile. "Each ship is carrying Dr. Morgan's portable disruptor device, and every captain has a personal reason to hate the Dominion." Their fleet consisted of vessels from a dozen different species, crewed by those brave enough to join humanity's rebellion. Some were escaped slaves. Others were survivors of harvested worlds. All had answered Jack's call when he reached out through Thorne's underground network. "We're approaching the processing center," Thorne announced from the navigation console. "Their defenses are active." Jack opened a channel to the fleet. "Remember the plan. Hit fast, hit hard, and free everyone you can. Today we show the galaxy that the Dominion can be beaten." Ambassador Lee stood before the Galactic Council, which had convened an emergency session as news of the massive Dominion fleet heading to Earth spread across the galaxy. "Earth stands on the brink of destruction," she said, her voice calm despite the dire situation. "The Dominion sends thousands of ships against us because we dared to say no to their demands. We ask now for the Council's support." The Council leader shook his six-eyed head. "The Council cannot interfere in this conflict. It is between Earth and the Dominion." "Cowards," Ambassador Lee said quietly. "For thousands of years, you've watched as the Dominion harvested worlds and enslaved billions. You did nothing because you were afraid. Or perhaps," her eyes narrowed, "because some of you benefit from the Dominion's atrocities." Angry murmurs filled the chamber. "If Earth falls today," Lee continued, "remember this moment. Remember that you had a chance to stand against tyranny, and you chose to hide. The Dominion will not stop with Earth. One day, they will come for you too." As she turned to leave, a tall, reptilian figure stepped forward from one of the lower seats. "The Triad stands with Earth," the representative announced. Shocked gasps echoed through the chamber. The Triad was a secretive alliance of 3 species that had managed to maintain some independence from Dominion control. "Our fleet is small," the Triad representative continued, "but it is yours to command, Ambassador. We have monitored your battles. Your disruptor technology offers the first real hope of defeating the Dominion in millennia." Ambassador Lee bowed deeply. "Earth thanks you. Together, we will fight for a free galaxy." Dr. Morgan worked frantically in her lab, trying to complete her enhanced version of the disruptor. Her hands moved quickly over the complex device as alarms blared throughout the facility. "Dr. Morgan," a voice came over the intercom. "All non-essential personnel must evacuate to the underground shelters immediately. Dominion forces have engaged our outer defenses." She ignored the warning, focused entirely on her work. The prototype was almost ready, but she needed more time. Just a few more adjustments. The lab doors slid open. Dr. Morgan looked up, expecting to see security personnel coming to escort her to safety. Instead, a tall figure in strange armor stood in the doorway. "Dr. Morgan, The figure said, its voice metallic through its helmet. "I am the architect. You will come with me." 2 Dominion soldiers flanked the architect, weapons raised. Dr. Morgan reached slowly for the alarm button under her desk, but the architect moved with impossible speed, crossing the room and grasping her wrist. "Your disruptor technology is impressive," the architect said, "but incomplete. The Overlord wishes to discuss it with you." As they dragged her from the lab, Dr. Morgan managed to hit the emergency purge button with her elbow. Her computer systems began deleting all data on the enhanced disruptor. The Dominion might take her, but they wouldn't get her research. Above Earth, the battle raged with a ferocity never before seen in the galaxy. The Dominion Grand Armada filled the sky like a metal storm, their weapons raining destruction on Earth's defenses. Commander Ellis directed the orbital platforms, their disruptor arrays working at maximum power. Wherever the disruptors hit, Dominion ships faltered as their living components broke free from technological control. But there were too many enemy ships. For every one disabled, 10 more took its place. "Platform 7 is down," reported Ellis's tactical officer. Platforms 3 and 12 reporting critical damage. Ellis watched as another defense platform exploded in silence. Earth's fleet fought bravely, but they were outnumbered 10-1. Without reinforcements, defeat was only a matter of time. "Commander," her communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from Admiral Stone. Priority Alpha." Ellis activated her command screen. Admiral Stone's face appeared, grim but determined. "Commander Ellis, initiate Operation Thunderclap. Authorization code: Freedom's price." Ellis felt her heart sink. She knew what that meant. "Understood, Admiral. It's been an honor." She turned to her crew. "All personnel to escape pods. Platform self-destruct in 10 minutes. "Commander," her second-in-command questioned. "Those are our orders. We're going to take as many of them with us as we can." Ellis activated the station-wide comm. "This is Commander Ellis. All defense platforms are to activate their fusion cores to overload status. Target the center of the Dominion fleet formation. For Earth." As escape pods launched from the orbital platforms, Ellis remained at her post, manually guiding the platform's trajectory toward the largest concentration of enemy ships. The disruptor had disabled their propulsion, leaving them vulnerable. Ellis thought of her home, of the blue planet below that had given humanity life. If this was to be her last act, she would make it count. Coming up on terminal impact, the computer announced, 60 seconds to core overload. Commander Ellis sent one final message to Earth. "Defense Platform Command to Earth Control. It has been my honor to serve. May what we do today give Earth a fighting chance." Ellis out. When the orbital defense platforms detonated, the explosion was visible from the surface of Earth. The combined power of 12 fusion cores created an expanding sphere of energy that engulfed nearly half of the Dominion fleet. From his command center deep beneath the Earth's surface, Admiral Stone watched the sensor readings with a mixture of grief and pride. Commander Ellis and her crew gave their lives to buy us time, he told his staff. "Now we make it count. Activate the Oort Cloud fleet." On screens around the room, hundreds of signal beacons suddenly activated at the very edge of the solar system. Earth's secret reserve fleet, hidden in the Oort Cloud for weeks, powered up and began moving toward the battle. The war for Earth and the galaxy had reached its turning point. Admiral Stone watched the main battle screen as Earth's hidden fleet emerged from the Oort Cloud. 100 ships, each equipped with Dr. Morgan's disruptor technology, moving to join the fight. It was humanity's last card to play. "Status report," he ordered. "Half the Dominion fleet was destroyed in Commander Ellis's sacrifice," reported his tactical officer. "Our main fleet has suffered 70% losses. The orbital defense network is gone." Stone's communicator beeped urgently. "Admiral, new contact detected. Something massive just entered Earth orbit." On the main screen, a ship appeared that dwarfed all others. It was easily 10 times the size of any Dominion vessel they had encountered before, shaped like a dark star with jagged arms extending outward. "The Overlord," Stone whispered. The massive ship came to a stop above Earth. All fighting seemed to pause as both sides regarded this new arrival. A transmission cut through all Earth frequencies. "People of Earth, I am the Overlord. Your defiance has been noted. Your destruction will be remembered as a lesson to all who would challenge the natural order of the galaxy." The center of the massive ship began to glow with terrible energy. "They're charging some kind of weapon," the sensor officer reported, voice shaking. "Power readings are off the scale." Stone opened a channel to all Earth forces. "This is Admiral Stone. Operation Thunderclap Phase 2 is now active. All ships with disruptors, concentrate fire on the Overlord's vessel. This is our last stand." Far from Earth, Jack Adams stood in the control center of the Dominion processing facility they had just captured. Around him, crews worked to free the beings trapped in the facility's machinery. "That's the 5th processing center we've liberated," Lieutenant Parker said. "The Dominion is scrambling forces from all sectors to deal with our attacks." Thorne entered the room, his face grave. "I just received word from our network. The Overlord itself has arrived at Earth with a planet-killer weapon." Jack felt his blood run cold. "We need to get back there." "We'd never make it in time," Parker said. Jack looked around at the newly freed beings. Many had been captives for centuries, biological components in the Dominion's cruel machines. But once freed, each had joined the fight without hesitation. "Maybe we can't get to Earth," Jack said slowly, "but we can make the Dominion fight a war on 100 fronts at once." He turned to the communications station. "Connect me to every resistance cell in the network. It's time to launch the full uprising." In a laboratory deep within the Overlord's massive ship, Dr. Morgan worked under the watchful eye of the architect. They had forced her to help them understand the disruptor technology, but she had been sabotaging their efforts in small, undetectable ways. "Your weapon is impressive," the architect said, studying her work, "but ultimately futile. The Overlord has existed for 10,000 years. It cannot be defeated by such a young species." Dr. Morgan looked up from the device she was modifying. "What exactly is the Overlord?" "Not a being like you, I think." The architect was silent for a moment. "The Overlord is beyond your comprehension. It found the secret of eternal life by merging consciousness with technology. What you call processing is simply the continuation of this great work." "Parasitism," Dr. Morgan corrected. "Taking other beings against their will to extend your master's life." The ship shuddered suddenly. Alarms blared. "Earth's fleet is attacking," the architect said, checking a monitor. "Foolish. The planet killer will be ready soon." Dr. Morgan smiled slightly. "You know, there's something I never told your master about the disruptor technology." "What?" "It doesn't just separate biological components from technology." Her smile widened. "At the right frequency, it can free the trapped consciousnesses within any being, even the Overlord." The architect stepped back, alarm visible even through its expressionless helmet. "You didn't. The device you've been having me modify, it's not what you think." Dr. Morgan pressed a hidden switch on the device. "It's an enhanced disruptor, calibrated specifically for your master." Captain Reed stood on the bridge of the ESS Defiant, now heavily damaged but still fighting. Earth's hidden fleet had engaged the Overlord's massive ship, focusing all their disruptors on it while avoiding the smaller Dominion vessels. "Our disruptors are having minimal effect," his tactical officer reported. "The Overlord's ship has some kind of shielding we haven't seen before." Reed studied the tactical display. The Defiant had taken heavy damage, but its main systems were still operational, including its disruptor. "There's a weak point," he said, pointing to a section near the center of the Overlord's ship where the planet-killer weapon was charging. "If we can get close enough, we might be able to disrupt the weapon itself." "Sir, at that range, we'd likely be destroyed by the backwash." Reed nodded grimly. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them it's been an honor. The Defiant broke formation, accelerating directly toward the Overlord's ship. Dominion vessels moved to intercept, but Earth's remaining fleet created a path, sacrificing themselves to give the Defiant its chance. On the bridge, Reed watched as the massive ship grew larger on the view screen. Full power to the disruptor. Target their weapons system. The Defiant came in fast, too fast for the Overlord's defenses to track effectively. Just as they reached optimal range, Reed gave the order. Fire. The enhanced disruptor beam struck the glowing center of the Overlord's ship at the exact moment that Dr. Morgan activated her modified device from within. Inside the Overlord's ship, something impossible happened. The being that had ruled the galaxy through fear for millennia felt its consciousness fracturing. The thousands of beings it had absorbed over the centuries to extend its life were suddenly waking up, breaking free. In the heart of the ship, a chamber opened to reveal what was left of the original Overlord, a withered ancient form connected to countless tubes and wires. As the combined disruptor effect washed over it, the being screamed in a voice that echoed across space itself. No, I am E.T. Oranale. I am T.E. Dominion. But the voices of thousands of captive consciousnesses answered back, not anymore. From Earth, people watched as the Overlord's massive ship seemed to change color, shifting from black to a strange, pulsing purple. Then it began to break apart, not in an explosion, but as if it were dissolving from within. Throughout the galaxy, on every world where the Dominion held power, their technology began to fail as the living components that powered it were suddenly freed. Ships drifted powerless in space. Processing centers shut down as their captives awoke. The rebellion that Jack had helped organize struck at this perfect moment. On 100 worlds, people rose up against their weakened oppressors. 1 month later, representatives from across the galaxy gathered at the Galactic Council chamber. But this time, Earth's seat was moved to the center. Jack Adams, now an admiral, addressed the assembled species. For too long, the galaxy lived in fear, he said. The Dominion's reign of terror lasted thousands of years because no one dared to say enough is enough. Humanity was not special because we were stronger or smarter, but because we refused to submit to tyranny when others would. Now we have a chance to build something better. A galactic alliance based on freedom and cooperation, not fear. The vote to form the new alliance was unanimous. As Jack looked out at the representatives of hundreds of worlds, he saw something that had been missing from the galaxy for millennia. Hope. Humanity had stood alone against the darkness, but in doing so, they had lit a beacon that would guide the galaxy toward a brighter future. The galaxy would never again live in fear.